Checking the sound. Ember can hear it. I'm gonna wait till Lindsay messages me to make sure the sound is good upstairs. Doing sound check. Wonderful. Lindsay, can you hear me? Checking the sound in the red room. Making sure it works before we get started. This is our last pre-stated of the year. We want to make sure everyone can hear it, so just waiting for Lindsay to tell me that it's working. Checking. Okay, we're great.
even. Okay.
You all are too much. Oh my goodness. Don't get me started already. The day is young. Ooh, what a special day. What a special day. Thank you so much for that, colleagues. You all are amazing and fantastic.
We are.
You are.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to acknowledge today that we are joined by former council members and, oh my gosh, Mighty Women's Caucus members here today. Majority Leader Lori Combo. Council members Diana Reyna. Council member Dharma Diaz. And the ever-effervescent legacy and legend that is Annette Robinson. Now we're going to move on to our stated agenda. First, we'll vote on the following land use items. Herkimer Williams, an application to facilitate the development of 4 new mixed-use buildings, including approximately 988 affordable residential units, commercial space, light industrial space, and open space in Councilmember Sandy Nurse's district. The council is modifying the application to add MIH option 3. 2449, 2153 Pacific Street, Article 11, an application to facilitate the rehabilitation of a 4-story building with approximately 24 homeownership cooperative units in Councilmember Darlene Mealy's district. 18-15 Francis Lewis Boulevard Commercial Overlay, a private application to amend the zoning map to bring a medical office building into compliance in Councilmember Vicky Palladino's district. MTA 125th and Lexington rezoning, an application to create a new sub-district within the special 125th Street and Transit Land Use District and Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala's district in order to facilitate the development of a new mixed-use building with 648 housing units, 171 of which will be affordable under MIH option 1. Resolution 1109, sponsored by Councilmember Rafael Salamanca, will authorize OTI to expend the franchise allowing for the installation, operation, and maintenance of public communication structures. Resolution 1157, also sponsored by Councilmember Salamanca, will authorize DOT to enter into a franchise for the installation, operation, and maintenance of coordinated street furniture. Next, we'll vote on the following finance items. Introduction 1427, sponsored by Councilmember Justin Brannan, would establish the Coney Island Business Improvement District. Preconsidered introduction, sponsored by Councilmember Brannan, would permanently extend the deadline for submission of the preliminary mayor's management report in years following the election of a mayor. The bill would also extend other preliminary budget deadlines pertaining to the preparation of the fiscal year 2027 budget. Preconsidered resolution, sponsored by Councilmember Brannan, approving the new designation and changes in the designation of certain organizations to receive funding in the expense budget. Preconsidered resolution, sponsored by Councilmember Brannan, approving a modification pursuant to Section 107E of the New York City Charter. Preconsidered resolutions, sponsored by Councilmember Brannan, would establish Article 11 tax exemptions for buildings in the districts of council members Aviles, Carr, Hudson, Salamanca, and Stevens, and an Article 5 tax exemption for 1 building in Councilmember Salam's district. Next, we'll vote on the following resolutions. Preconsidered resolution, sponsored by Public Advocate Jumaane Williams and Councilmember Keith Powers, would celebrate the New York Knicks winning 2025 Emirates NBA Cup Championship. Of course, that's Jumaane. Resolution 499, sponsored by Councilmember Rita Joseph, would call on Congress to pass and the President to sign the Protecting Consumers from Deception AI Act. Resolution 842, sponsored by Councilmember Joseph, would recognize March annually as Music in Our Schools Month in New York City. Resolution 82A, sponsored by Councilmember James Gennaro, would support the mission and growth of the Climate Museum. Resolution 649A, sponsored by Councilmember Gail Brewer, would call on Congress to pass and the President to sign legislation allocating funds for the restoration of the SS United States and for its relocation to New York City. Resolution 500, sponsored by Councilmember Joseph, would call on the New York State Legislature to pass, introduce and pass, and the Governor to sign the New York State College Safety Act. Resolution 1061A, sponsored by Majority Leader Amanda Farias, would call on the New York State Legislature to pass and the Governor to sign legislation requiring pain management options to be offered to patients undergoing in-office gynecological procedures. Resolution 734A, also sponsored by Councilmember Brewer, would call on the Governor to sign S 8415, A 8871, known as the Prison Reform Omnibus Bill. Today we'll vote on the following legislation. Preconsidered introduction, sponsored by Councilmember Sean Abreu, would co-name 77 thoroughfares and public spaces. Introduction 1233A, sponsored by Councilmember Eric Botcher, would require DOT to build any new medians separating bicycle lanes from motorized vehicle traffic to accommodate planting of trees and other vegetation. I invite Councilmember Botcher to the podium to discuss his legislation.
Thank you so much, Speaker Adams, and thank you for your great leadership on behalf of our city, and congratulations. Today, I'm so proud to be passing legislation that will require the Department of Transportation, when they build a bike lane and build a median between the bike lane and traffic, they've got to include trees. Climate change, combating climate change, means doing things large and small, reducing our greenhouse emissions, but we also know that a proven way of addressing climate change is by increasing our tree canopy. So we need to be increasing our tree canopy everywhere we can. In our district, we were able to get protected bike lanes up and down every major avenue in our district. But we had to convince DOT to include tree beds on those planted medians. They weren't going to do it. They didn't do it on 11th Avenue. It's concrete all the way up 11th Avenue. On 10th Avenue, they weren't going to do it. We got them to do it. It's beautiful, beautifully planted trees. They absorb rainwater runoff during storms. They clean the air. They increase biodiversity for birds and pollinators. They slow traffic, tree-lined streets. Cars drive slower on tree-lined streets, and many, many other benefits. So let's increase our city's tree canopy. Last year, I sponsored the Urban Forest Master Plan legislation that will increase our city's tree canopy to 30% of the city land by 2035. It's going to take increasing our tree coverage everywhere we go. We've got to do it while also thinking through the maintenance partners for these tree beds. We can't have the tree beds unmaintained, looking terrible. So we have to think that through. I'm committed to doing that. But we can't have these concrete islands where we could have had a little bit of nature, a little bit of biodiversity. These are the small things. When you add them up, they make a big difference in our city. Thank you, Speaker Adams. Thank you, Chair of Transportation, Sylvina Brooks Powers, and everyone else, all my staff, everyone who helped make this possible.
Thank you. Ooh, there's applause. This is going to be a long day. Introduction 142A, sponsored by Majority Whip Sylvina Brooks Powers, would require the Department of Education to issue a biannual report regarding students' access to the internet and electronic devices at home and students' use of virtual learning. Introduction 1346A, also sponsored by Majority Whip Brooks Powers, would require the Department of Transportation to study the licensed and unlicensed vans that make up New York City's commuter van industry. I invite Majority Whip Brooks Powers to the podium to discuss her legislation.
Thank you, and I think you said it right. Majority whips Sylvina Brooks Powers because everybody whips me every day here. But today the council is voting on two pieces of legislation that address gaps many New Yorkers live with every single day: the digital divide facing our students and transportation gaps facing working class communities in transportation deserts. My bill, Intro 142, recognizes a simple truth. In 2025, access to internet and functional devices is essential for a child's education. Yet too many families are still struggling to make remote learning work during snow days, emergencies, or hybrid instructions through no fault of their own. This bill requires the Department of Education to regularly report on student access to home internet and devices, including when equipment is broken or unusable. Just as importantly, it requires recommendations, not just numbers, so we can turn information into solutions and direct resources where they are needed the most. We are also advancing another bill of mine, Introduction 1346, which focuses on commuter vans, an essential transportation option for thousands of New Yorkers, particularly in Southeast Queens, parts of Brooklyn, and other transit deserts. For many riders, commuter vans are not a convenience. They are how people get to work, school, and medical appointments when traditional transit options fall short. Yet the city lacks comprehensive, up-to-date data on how this system operates and how it interacts with buses, pedestrians, and curb space. Intro 1346 requires the Department of Transportation to study the commuter van industry so future decisions are grounded in reality, safety, and equity, not assumptions. Together, these bills reflect a commitment to planning that centers how people actually live, learn, and move across our city. I'm proud to advance them and grateful to the advocates, my colleagues, and community members who made this possible. I especially want to thank Speaker Adams for her leadership on these two pieces of legislation, as well as Committee on Education Chair Rita Joseph. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hold your applause until the end, please. Now, you said that this is a press conference. Introduction 479A, sponsored by Councilmember Julie Won, would require the city chief procurement officer to establish standards and procedures for contractors to determine the existence of conflicts of interest and misconduct concerning city contracts valued over $100,000. Okay, we thank Councilmember Won for her legislation. Introduction 1366A, sponsored by Councilmember Yusuf Salam, would require the Department of Social Services to create web forms for any applications that must be completed to apply for benefits and services through DSS. Introduction 1401, also sponsored by Councilmember Salam, would allow city agencies to request voluntary disclosures from bidders on city contracts about their efforts to identify and address labor and human rights risks. I invite Councilmember Salam to the podium to discuss his legislation.
Thank you, Speaker, and congratulations on your leadership. It's really been pleasant. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Earlier today, two committees of the New York City Council, Committee on General Welfare and the Committee on Contracts, advanced two of my legislation that speaks directly to how government shows up for people and how it uses public responsibility. This afternoon, both of these bills will move forward to the full council for a vote at the stated meeting. The first bill, proposed introduction 1366A, which passed out of the Committee on General Welfare, modernizes how New Yorkers apply these benefits and services through the Department of Social Services. For too many families, applying for benefits still means navigating paper forms, long waits, and in-person visits that can be especially burdensome for children, older adults, people with disabilities, caregivers, and individuals facing health or mobility challenges. This bill requires DSS, where permitted by state and federal law, to provide secure, accessible web forms that allow applications to be completed and signed electronically while continuing to accept paper applications and in-person submissions. It also expands the option of telephone interviews, making the system more humane and more accessible. Just as important, this legislation includes clear safeguards. DSS retains full authority to require in-person interviews when necessary to prevent fraud, to address domestic violence, or respond to unsafe or coercive conditions. This is about expanding access without compromising safety or program integrity. The second bill, proposition or proposed intro 1401-A, which passed out of the Committee on Contracts, focuses on transparency in city procurement. It allows agencies for covered contracts to request voluntary labor and human rights disclosure from bidders regarding risks such as child labor, forced labor, wage theft, unsafe working conditions, and violations of freedoms of association in their operations and supply chains. In today's global economy, these abuses are often deeply embedded and invisible, and in the most extreme cases tied to systemic exploitation and crimes against humanity. Even as public dollars continue to flow, this bill helps the city better understand those risks while remaining carefully balanced. Disclosures are voluntary. They cannot be used to deem a bidder non-responsive. They cannot be the sole basis for awarding or denying a contract. Key categories such as small purchases, emergency procurements, professional services, and federally or state restricted contracts are appropriately excluded. Taken together, these bills reflect the consistent governing philosophy: access without recklessness, transparency without punishment, and modernization with safeguards firmly in place. I want to thank again the Speaker, the committee chairs, my colleagues, the bill drafters, my team, and my Director of Budget and Legislative Affairs, Mufaza Hussein, who helped to move this work forward. Later today, the full council will have the opportunity to affirm these values at our stated meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember. Introduction 1066A, sponsored by Councilmember Natasha Williams, would require the Office of Technology and Innovation to conduct a study and publish a report on the impacts of algorithmic tools and automated employment decision tools on civil service employees. Introduction 472A, also sponsored by Councilmember Williams, would require borough presidents to provide equal employment opportunity trainings to community board members and staff. And I invite Councilmember Dr. Williams to the podium to discuss her legislation.
Good afternoon, and welcome back to the former council members, and special shout outs to Ms. Robinson, who, as a staffer, really looked up to her and her leadership, so it's always like full circle when I see her in these spaces. So today I'm speaking about two bills that focus on how we support the people inside our public institutions, particularly as the nature of public service continues to evolve. Intro 1066 requires the city, as you've heard, to examine and report on how artificial intelligence is being introduced across city agencies and how those tools are affecting civil service employees. AI is already shaping workflows, decision-making, and job responsibilities in ways that are not always visible or consistent. This legislation creates a regular, coordinated structure for agencies to examine those impacts and for city employees to share what they're experiencing directly. It's about preparing our workforce for change while making sure policy keeps pace with technology and not the other way around. The second bill, Intro 472, focuses on our community boards. And as former community board members, you know, we love them so much, but they always need extra love. And one of the most important entry points into civic life is community boards. Community board members take on real responsibility, often while balancing full-time jobs and family commitments, requiring consistent equal employment opportunity training, including anti-harassment and anti-discrimination standards, helps set clear expectations now and strengthens these civic spaces for the future. And I know Councilmember Brewer said she did this as borough president, and this is why we're passing this bill, because all boroughs should do this. These bills are guided by the simple principle that government functions most effectively when the people who carry it out have support and accountability, whether we're talking about emerging technology or longstanding civic institutions. Our responsibility is the same: to set clear standards, listen to the people doing the work, and build systems and spaces where people can serve and engage safely and responsibly. That means fostering respectful and professional interactions, maintaining fairness, transparency, and encouraging inclusive participation, as well as upholding shared standards that guide decision-making and civic engagement. I want to thank all my colleagues who are sponsoring the legislation. And last but certainly not least, I really want to thank the speaker on these bills, but not just these bills, but truly for her, I can't look at her because she's going to make me cry, for her partnership and leadership these last 4 years. And I said this privately yesterday at an event, and I'll say it publicly, that people truly don't know what they got until it's gone. So I know for sure I will miss you, and just thank you so much for your leadership.
Thank you so much for not making me cry. Okay. Introduction 1359A, sponsored by Councilmember Rita Joseph, would require the DOE to report annually on manifestation determination reviews conducted for students with disabilities. Introduction 1360A, also sponsored by Councilmember Joseph, would require the NYPD to develop materials regarding their youth programs and provide them to the DOE to distribute to schools. Introduction 987A, also sponsored by Councilmember Joseph, would require the DOE to establish a pilot program to develop and distribute educational materials regarding the reduction of surplus food in public schools. Now I invite Councilmember Joseph to the podium to discuss all of her legislation. Good
All
stuff.
of them. All of them. Good afternoon. Thank you again, Madam Speaker, for the last 4 years. What an amazing ride. We love you, and we will definitely miss you. I'm Councilmember Joseph, representing the 40th Council District and a forever educator and the chair of the Committee on Education. My first intro is 987A, requiring DOE and the office or agency designated by the mayor to establish a pilot program to develop and distribute educational materials to students and staff regarding the reduction of surplus food in public schools. The benefits of food waste diversion and the role of students and staff in diverting organic matters from landfills. The DOE serves about 880,000 meals a day to students across the nation's largest school system. And this was inspired by a pilot program in Frederick County, Maryland. This program will teach students and staff about recycling, composting, and reducing food waste. And the next one is Intro 1359, which will require New York City Public Schools to report annually on manifestation determination reviews conducted for students with disabilities. Students with disabilities are suspended at a higher rate compared to their peers without disabilities, and often for behavior directly related to their disabilities. A manifestation determination review is a meeting to decide whether a student's misbehavior was caused by their disability or happened because the school did not provide the support the student needed. This bill would require New York City Public Schools to issue detailed reports outlining, among other things, the number of students referred for a manifestation determination review and the number of reviews conducted each year. This report will also allow us to ensure that manifestation determination reviews are occurred across the city equitably and in compliance with education laws. Finally, a bill requiring NYPD to develop materials regarding their youth programs and provide them to New York City Public Schools would be a task distributing these materials to schools and students in the New York City system. The NYPD would also be required to post the materials on its website, distribute the materials to council members on request. Currently, New York City NYPD offers a variety of youth-related initiatives, but these initiatives are never well advertised. So thank you again. Thank you again, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Okay. Introduction 1452A, sponsored by Minority Leader Joanne Ariola, would require the fire department to provide notice to employees of any PPE known to contain PFAs. By 2028, FDNY would be required to provide employees with equipment that does not contain PFAs at or above established hazardous levels. Introduction 1453A, also sponsored by the Minority Leader, would require FDNY to establish a program to exchange and dispose of equipment that contains PFAs. Introduction 1229A, also sponsored by the Minority Leader, would require monthly reports from the FDNY on the average number of EMS units available each day to respond to medical emergencies. And Introduction 1140A, also sponsored by the Minority Leader, would require the FDNY to report annually on information related to firehouse and EMS assets that are not included in existing capital asset reporting. I now invite Minority Leader Ariola to the podium to discuss all of that legislation.
It's some package, right? Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today, I am proud to advance bills that will have dramatic long-term effects on and take a strong step toward making sure firefighters and EMS personnel will have gear that is safe and equipment that will ensure New Yorkers are getting the level of public safety they deserve. Intro 1140A will require the fire department to report annually on information related to firehouse and EMS assets that are not included in existing capital asset reporting. This would include reporting on the condition, age, maintenance, and having transparency on all department vehicles that are operational. Having transparency will encourage the department to stop using outdated vehicles and equipment, and will ensure that the members of the FDNY and EMS will have all the tools and resources they need to keep our residents safe. Intro 1229A will also go a long way towards protecting New Yorkers in the future and ensuring that our first responders have equipment they need to stay and to keep them doing their jobs effectively. With the consistent increases in response times to medical calls we are seeing in the city, and after hearing the story of 24-year-old Nicholas Costello, who suffered a cardiac arrest in the Bronx in 2023 and sadly passed away after 19 minutes waiting for an ambulance, I introduced Intro 1229A, a bill that will require monthly reports from the fire department detailing the average number of EMS units available each day to respond to medical emergencies, categorized by EMS unit type and borough. The benefit of 1229A will be that the public can finally see how many ambulances are taken off the road each day, along with the reasons for their absence. Today, we will pass this legislation in loving memory of Nicholas and in the hope that it will encourage the city to be more transparent and finally fix the EMS system by giving EMS workers fair pay and working out deficiencies within the CAD system. In addition to these reporting bills, we also have bills passing that will help protect the health of those who protect us each and every day. Per and polyfluoroalkyl substances known as PFAS or forever chemicals are found in high levels in FDNY bunker gear. The risks associated with PFAS exposure are not new. Researchers and advocates and firefighters themselves have been raising concerns for years, but sadly, government action has consistently lagged behind the science. Something which this package of legislation hopes to change. During the legislation's hearing on the subject of cancer in our firefighters, expert testimony reinforced the dangers that many members of service have warned about. First, as attested to by the FDNY's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. David Prezent, there have been sharp uptick in firefighters developing cancer in recent decades. It was also noted by Dr. Prezent that even though he wrote about it in his prestigious medical journal in 2011, nothing has really been done. Building on that concern and the fact that the testimony of the Vice President of the Uniformed Firefighters Association, Bobby Eustace, he stated, occupational cancer has now become the #1 killer of firefighters nationwide. This is the reality we are facing. The very people who put their lives on the line for us every day, they survive brutal conditions day in and day out, only to fall victim to a silent, microscopic menace that we now know we have an opportunity to eliminate. Intro 1452A will require the FDNY to provide written notice to employees regarding any firefighting personal protective equipment that contains PFAS by 2028. The FDNY provide employees with firefighting equipment that does not contain intentionally added PFAS by 2028. And 1453 will require the fire department to establish a program to exchange and dispose of firefighting equipment that contains PFAS. This program would complement FDNY's efforts to replace firefighting gear containing PFAS chemicals with equipment that does not contain intentionally added PFAS or PFAS composition or above the safe levels. The safety of our first responders and the people of New York City are my top priority, and I look forward to the passage of these 4 bills. I want to thank the advocates that we've worked with to support these bills. The bill drafters, Declan McPherson, my chief of staff, who worked so hard on this legislation, Phyllis Incerillo, Pauline Smithick, and my committee counsel, Josh Kingsley, and senior policy analyst, Will Hongash. But I'd like to make a special thank you to our speaker, Adrienne Adams, who, without the support that she gave us for this bill and her concern for the health of our first responders, could never have come this far and advanced. Additionally, because of your leadership, I have had the honor of being the chair of Fire and Emergency Management since 2021, and that is something I will be forever grateful to you for trusting me with such an important position. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
And on behalf of my daughter, the paramedic, the FDNY paramedic, how we thank you for your dedication. Introduction 868A, sponsored by Councilmember Oswald Felice, would prohibit programs from distributing syringes or needles in or within 50 feet of playgrounds and on or adjacent to school premises. Introduction 1169A, also sponsored by Councilmember Felice, would require syringe service programs to give participants guidance on safe disposal, provide information about nearby disposal sites, offer portable disposal containers, and require DOHMH to collect discarded needles in public spaces. And Introduction 1237A, also sponsored by Councilmember Felice, would require the NYPD to report data on all criminal complaints and arrests. I now invite Councilmember Felice to the podium to discuss all of his legislation.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Councilmember Oswald Felice, proudly representing the Central and the South Bronx. I want to start by congratulating all of my colleagues on the many bills we're passing today, and I especially want to congratulate our Speaker, Adrian Adams, for another successful year, another very successful legislative session. Part of the many bills that we're voting on today, we're approving approximately 50 bills. Proud of all of them, including 3 of my bills. One related to police data transparency, and another one related to mobile syringe distribution programs. On the police bill, we've made a lot of progress on the issue of safety. Shootings are down, homicides are down. That's very good, and it's also good that we have data to be able to analyze crime trends. But it's also important that we get data regarding the resolution of these cases so that we could know which cases are being resolved, which are not being resolved, and also be able to determine whether cases in specific parts of the city are being resolved and are not being resolved, so that we could be able to make sure that the areas, the parts of the city that need attention and resources get the attention and resources that they deserve. This bill will help do exactly that. On the 2 syringe bills, we have many syringe distribution programs throughout the city. I have many of them in my district, and these programs do life-saving work, making sure that people that are going through a lot get the needs and services that they need, including, for example, clean and safe syringes so that they won't use and reuse used syringes. These programs are life-saving. Again, I have many of them in my district, and I see their work on a daily basis. But we must make sure that we execute these programs the right way. My bills will help do exactly that by, number one, ensuring that when we are engaging in these types of services, that we do them slightly away from children's playgrounds and parks. We've had a lot of issues in my district and also throughout the Bronx, but also throughout the city, with used syringes ending up in places including children's playgrounds and much more. So my bill will help resolve that. My bill will also require that disposal containers be provided so that when individuals have a used syringe, they could have the resources they need to dispose the syringes in a safe way. This is a very complex issue. These 2 bills will not perfectly resolve everything. There's a lot of other steps that we must take, including making sure that we execute on the buyback program and much more. But these 2 are very important steps to resolve some of the challenges that we've seen. And just want to thank our Speaker and all of my colleagues for helping get these 3 bills to the finish line. Thank you so much.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Introduction 571A, sponsored by Councilmember Gail Brewer, would require HPD to conduct and publish a study on the feasibility of building affordable housing on Ward's Island. Introduction 570B, also sponsored by Councilmember Brewer, would create a New York City land bank to acquire and manage vacant, abandoned, tax delinquent, and foreclosed properties with the goal of promoting the preservation of home ownership and home equity, prevention of displacement, and putting properties to productive community use. Introduction 1411A, also sponsored by Councilmember Brewer, would require the Commissioner of Finance to notify condominium boards if the Commissioner intends to sell a tax lien on one of its units. And Introduction 1460A, sponsored by Councilmember Gail Brewer, would require the NYPD to adopt a written policy regarding access to encrypted radio channels. I now invite Councilmember Brewer to the podium to discuss all of her legislation. Powerful.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Nice interview on Errol Lewis last night, too. I only watched Errol Lewis. They say, "What are you watching?" I say, "I only have one show, Errol Lewis." So it was great. That's it. Nothing else. I never heard of those other shows. On the land bank, which is, I want to thank the amazing staff, particularly Emre Adiv and Nick Connell from the finance office for their incredible work. What this is, it was controversial. It would establish a land bank in New York to help the city address and ameliorate, as you heard, problems related to vacant, abandoned, and delinquent properties. Land banks are empowered to do this. They exist around the state and around the country to purchase tax liens and to enforce them. Unlike the current tax lien system, where properties go to the highest bidder, regardless of intended use, this bill would establish a hierarchical ranking of priorities for the use of the property when it is disposed of by the land bank. Example, number one, it could be a use that would result in the creation or preservation of affordable housing. It could be industrial, manufacturing, or marine activities. It could be used as a fresh food store. It could be used as a public space, or it could be a wildlife conservation area. I know that the administration is concerned that they and the city will lose revenue, but to be clear, the prompt resolution of unpaid city taxes and timely collection of city taxes remains essential, and I think these bills will accomplish that. Accompanying it is Intro 1411. As the speaker said, it would require finance to notify condo boards if the department intends to sell a tax lien on a unit within the condo. Now I'm going to talk about Ward's Island. Lincoln Resler didn't know where the hell Ward's Island is. He thought it was Randall's Island. It's not. I just want to be clear. So Ward's Island is a place where there's lots of land. Diana Ayala knows it very well, and it has on it the state psychiatric, it has fire training, it has 2 or 3 shelters, and it certainly has a wastewater treatment plant, but it has a lot of space. And only Annette Robinson will remember when Roosevelt Island was called Welfare Island, and Ed Lowe came in, and the rest is history. You have to have gray hair to know about that. But the point is we could do the same thing with the Ward's Island. Mitchell-Lama 2.0, affordable housing, et cetera. So that's what my bill is, to study it and to bring all the agencies together. Intro 1460. Beginning in 2030, the police department transitioned all department radio communication to encryption channels so nobody could get them. It removed all public access to the frequencies. Members of the press objected, understandably, arguing that access is vital to the public interest. And that's what Intro 1460 will do. It restores access to credentialed journalists. And I want to use the word credentials. The police department was upset and nervous because they don't want people who might upset the police investigation at site to be involved. These are credentialed journalists. I trust them impeccably. I want to thank Jeremy Whiteman and Josh Kingsley for this effort. Thank you very much.
Introduction 1279B, sponsored by Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala, would limit rules issued by the Department of Sanitation prohibiting supplemental sanitation service providers from placing refuse or recycling by public litter baskets, and further requiring them to set material out for collection by DSNY in rigid receptacles with tight-fitting lids. Introduction 125A, also sponsored by Deputy Speaker Ayala, would require that in most circumstances the NYPD must obtain the consent of a parent, legal guardian, or attorney before collecting a DNA sample from a minor. I invite the Deputy Speaker to the podium to discuss her legislation.
Thank you. Let me turn it back so that I remember what those pieces are. I never remember the numbers, but in regards to 1279B, this is a very simple bill. Council passed legislation that would require supplemental cleaning groups, right, like ACE, the Dole Fund, and others, many of the bids, to start participating in the containerization of such garbage. Unfortunately, it became an unfunded mandate, and so we introduced a bill that would prolong the enforcement times to allow those groups to kind of figure out their finances and figure out how they were going to be able to pay for, this new added item that was not budgeted. And while we did that, the council also fought vigorously to identify such funding, and we were happy to report that we were able to identify $5 million, thank you, Madam Speaker, that went towards the payment of the, to those groups so that they can pay for the containerization and abide by the law. However, what we're asking with this bill is to delay the, not the implementation, but the penalty phase for an additional 8 months to capture, and it's just applicable to groups that did not receive the money, just to be able to capture the group of, smaller organizations that may not have been captured as part of the original $5 million. So we all believe, in the containerization bills. We passed them, we supported them, but we also believe in fairness, and we want to be able to know how many groups were left out and how much money we will need so that we're able to better negotiate that, or the council's able to better negotiate that in the coming year and put that money in. Now, in relation to Introduction 125, this is a DNA bill that we had drafted in 2018, and it's been lingering for one reason or the other. There was always something happening in the universe of the NYPD that prevented us from being able to pass this bill. Many people are very skeptical about it because they think that it's a way that it would prevent the NYPD from being able to solve cases. It would not prevent the NYPD from being able to solve cases. I have been a victim of crime on several occasions. I want the person that committed those crimes to be held accountable, right? Accountability is important. However, we're talking about minor kids that may or may not have done anything, that were caught up in a situation, were brought in for questioning, were maybe offered a soda or a cup of water. They had a sip or two, they left it there, they leave, not having been arrested for anything, not really even being accused of having done anything, and now the NYPD collects that piece of article that is considered abandoned, and they test that DNA, and then they keep it around in the event that you do something. And that, I think, is unfortunate, and I think that it also, the fact that the number of kids whose data was being collected are primarily black and brown is a disservice to young people in communities like mine. And so if, in fact, a young person commits a crime and the NYPD believes that this person did something and they have enough information, they always have the right to go to a judge and get a subpoena for that same DNA sample. So there's no reason on earth why they would not be able to still accomplish the same thing. The only thing that we're removing is the ability to do that without going through due process. So I hope, my colleagues here can support that bill. And then finally, I just wanted to very quickly, because I know it's going to be a really long day, I wanted to acknowledge that we will be recognizing several individuals today. The City Council has one of our favorite perks is the street co-namings. I know not Gail's favorite, but she supports it. And I just wanted to, to raise awareness around some of the few that we will be honoring in El Barrio, East Harlem this year. So we will be honoring musical genius Eddie Palmieri, who passed away earlier this year. Eddie's going to be forever memorialized across the street from the street corner that was named in honor of his beloved brother Charlie. Just a few years ago, I was privileged to be there as well. We will also be honoring P.D. Thomas. P.D. Thomas was the writer and poet whose memoir, Down These Mean Streets, became a bestseller. P.D. had a very difficult, it's a great book, but he had a very difficult upbringing, and he got into some serious trouble in his younger years, and he was able to redeem himself and to be able to come back to his community and educate and help us through the spoken word and through his experiences. El Nuevo Caribe Democratic Club in East Harlem, El Barrio, was first founded in 1949 and is the oldest Puerto Rican political club in the continental United States. And then finally, Dilcia Pagan, a Puerto Rican revolutionary who fought tirelessly for the independence and self-determination of the Puerto Rican people and its island. Thank you all, and if you have any questions, I'm here.
I hadn't heard of Down These Mean Streets in a long time. I read that when at 7th, 8th grade. Yeah. So I'm so glad that you said those names out loud. P.D. Thomas, wow. Okay. Introduction 1412A, also known as the Safer Sanctuary Act, sponsored by Councilmember Tiffany Caban, would bar federal immigration authorities from maintaining offices on land under the New York City Department of Corrections jurisdiction. It would also amend the city's sanctuary laws to account for current federal immigration enforcement practices. I invite Councilmember Caban to the podium to discuss her legislation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Speaker Adams. It is my honor to be the prime sponsor of Intro 1412, the Safer Sanctuary Act. I think across the city, we have heard from our neighbors. We have been touched by the really horrific, violent deportation agenda under this Trump administration. And we have also seen the best of New Yorkers. We have seen people out in the streets protecting one another. And this was a morning where I woke up more proud than I have ever been to be a legislator in this city. And be able to stand aside my neighbor's fight and bring the fight into law and strengthen our laws here. So our sanctuary laws, they exist for one reason, and that's to keep people safe. The data is clear. Sanctuary counties are safer per capita than non-sanctuary counties. And it's also clear that because when you drive people into hiding, they don't seek health care. They don't seek public safety officials. They're more likely to be harmed, and they become afraid to send their children to school. They're afraid to go to work and participate in our economy, and that makes all of us less safe as a result. Under the Trump administration, federal agencies that usually have absolutely nothing to do with immigration enforcement are suddenly being turned into tools of fear. We have to pass the Safer Sanctuary Act to clarify and strengthen our sanctuary laws so that no one can claim confusion or loopholes regardless of which federal agency is being used for immigration enforcement. And the Safer Sanctuary Act also stops ICE from setting up offices inside of our jails. New Yorkers already disappear inside of those walls, and that cannot also become a deportation machine. And when we succeed in passing the Safer Sanctuary Act today, it is going to be the most significant update of New York sanctuary city laws in nearly a decade. We need it desperately. We've seen seniors beaten. We've seen pregnant mothers shackled. We've seen children torn away from their parents. And these are kidnappings. They're acts of terror, and they're happening in our city to our neighbors. Fear and terror don't make us safe. Safety comes from community, it comes from solidarity, it comes from fighting for each other, and the Safer Sanctuary Act is a critical tool in that fight. I'm grateful for the support of Speaker Adams and of all of the bill's co-sponsors, and together I know that we will pass this bill today to do our part in helping to ensure New Yorkers' safety. So thank you.
Thank you. Yep. Okay, here we're going to take a moment to pause and ask if there are any on-topic questions on any of the bills that we've just discussed before we move on.
On-topic questions on these bills. Okay, we're going to do a quick change. Speaker, I'm going to ask you to stay.
Yep.
We have a bunch of reporters who need, so if you're staff, we're going to need you to find another place to hang out.
I have the water right here. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna give you this.
Oh, wow.
Present you with this bouquet of flowers on behalf of the Women's Caucus. And we want to celebrate you. And we are so proud to have carried these batons and for you to run this major lap. And I know that many more women speakers will be joining this body in this capacity. And we just want to say thank you. I know our council member here.
We have generations of bodies that you are embraced with, and we want to wish you a happy life. There's life after this, and you live it well. And we want to make sure that you understand the shoulders are heavy, but they were heavy for great work, accomplishments that people will never understand or recognize, accomplishments that perhaps will be applauded, but you know that's what matters most.
level. Thank you. The next level. I smell consistent. 45 minutes of the press conference. You go, girl. They don't know. I'll take you some good distance. Okay, thank you.
Hello. How are you today?
How are you standing?
I am wonderful. I'm forgetting that I have feet.
They should give you a stool here, so it can
Yeah?
look like you're standing.
This is what it can look like. No,
First press conference.
I'm still on the heels.
No, they don't have a block here anymore for the vertically
No, it's
challenged
right.
members.
It's right in the closet. Yeah. The additional stand. Oh wow, we are having a reunion. I did. Your Knicks thing. You're on Emirates. Yeah.
No, it's kind of like made up, but it's fine.
Yeah.
A win is a win.
We've announced it.
And the Emirates Cup is like.
Okay. We are going to start press conference part 2. Introduction 1000A, sponsored by Councilmember Justin Brannan, would require DOT to establish a pilot program to allow for-hire vehicles to park in commercial parking meter areas. Introduction 1332A, also sponsored by Councilmember Brannan, would prohibit delivery services from deactivating app-based contracted delivery workers unless the deactivation is for just cause or bona fide economic reasons. I invite Councilmember Brannan to the podium to discuss his legislation. Hello, General.
Speaker, thank you. These two bills, 1332A and Intro 1000, basically seek to do similar things in getting to the heart of the human beings behind these billion-dollar apps that often treat their workers as expendable or disposable. 1332A puts power really back in the hands of workers. It establishes clear rights, just cause for deactivation so that an algorithm can't just fire you without any recourse or reason. And Intro 1000 is for hire vehicle drivers who right now don't have the option to pull over to take a bathroom break or to pray or grab some lunch or have nowhere to do it. And this is recognizing that Uber and Lyft drivers are human beings, the same way that our delivery app workers are human beings. And the folks that are behind this technology deserve respect and deserve rights. And I'm proud of these two bills. I came into the city council fighting for the little guy, and I'm leaving the city council fighting for the little guy and making sure that our workers in this city are treated with dignity and respect. So I'm excited to get these two bills passed today, and I thank the Speaker for her leadership over the past 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. This is not the applauding crowd. We had that in part 1.
I'm the applauding crowd.
The applauding crowd? Okay. All right. Introduction 276A, sponsored by Councilmember Shekhar Krishnan, would prohibit high-volume for-hire vehicle services from deactivating drivers unless due to just cause, a bona fide economic reason, or if required by law. I invite Councilmember Krishnan to the podium to discuss his legislation. He is not here. Okay. We thank him. Introduction 403A, sponsored by Public Advocate Jumaane Williams, would require the Department of Environmental Protection to report annually on the inspection, cleanup, and maintenance of catch basins in each community district. The bill would also require DEP to inspect catch basins and resolve clogs within 8 business days of inspection or receipt of a complaint. Introduction 408A, sponsored by Public Advocate Williams, would create a division of street vendor assistance with the Department of Small Businesses Services to assist street vendors. I invite the Public Advocate to the podium to discuss his legislation. Only 2 bills today, Jumaane?
I can add some more if you want. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I'll talk about Intro 408A first. This bill will create a division of street vendor assistance. This new unit, housed within the Department of Small Business Services, will be charged with providing training, outreach, and education to all food vendors and general food vendors regarding entrepreneurship and compliance with all applicable local laws, rules, and regulations. It will give street vendors access to many of the same tools afforded to other small businesses. Street vendors in New York City are smallest businesses, one of the smallest businesses in New York City, provide some of the most affordable options for New Yorkers facing an increasingly unfair affordable city, yet they don't have the support from the city they need to survive. My office released a report on these barriers just yesterday, and today we have a chance to help. And speaking with vendors about the barriers they face, it was clear that we can do more. I'm glad that we are today. I thank the advocates and vendors who worked on this bill package and the Speaker and the Council for taking it up. We can build a strong, safe street vending environment for our neighborhoods. I want to thank my staff, Veronica R. Avies, Rosie Mendez, Elizabeth Guzman, the policy team, and the Street Vendor Project, and of course, the Speaker. Intro 403A, this bill will require the DEP to unclog catch basins. This is one where everybody can agree, every side of the aisle. Unclog catch basins within 8 days of an inspection of complaint, and that the agency reports catch basin clearances data each year. It would also require DEP to inspect catch basins in accordance with a multi-tiered inspection schedule based on data collected under a previous law passed, to elevate the schedule at least once every 3 years. Across the city, clogged catch basins have led to mass flooding in the streets. It's an issue that is not only inconvenient, but also causes significant damage and danger. In 2014, it passed a bill on this, which sunset in 2019. As we've seen, the flooding issues have gotten worse since then, and we need to take action now. Passing this bill will help clear the backlog of complaints and ensure things flow smoothly, keeping our streets safe and our subways dry. Each time there's an extreme storm in the city, which is now just being a regular storm, one that overruns our system on our streets, one that puts New Yorkers' safety and security at risk. We hear that it's once in a decade or once in a generation or once in 500 years. I've heard it once too often. These events are now normal, and we need to adequately prepare them as a city. I want to thank my staff again. Also, the Speaker and Minority Leader Ariella, who was a co-sponsor. Just briefly, I want to make sure, because this is the last time I'll be able to do so, I want to make sure I just shout out Speaker Adrienne Adams for her leadership over the past 4 years. I've been proud to serve with her in government, with not just these 4 years, but in the last 8. Her steadfast leadership as the first black woman speaker over the majority woman council has been amazing to watch. So many times, we've had to count on this half of the Adams and Adams firm.
Don't do it.
And I'm proud that every time we needed this council to show that it's a co-equal branch to balance out some of the things that we think were not correct, she did it every single time. So I'm so proud to have served with you. And I just want to say congratulations for the legacy that you left in showing what this council can do, particularly at a time when one half of the leadership was not doing what it was supposed to do. I'll keep it there. Thank you so much. Congratulations again.
It's also my former colleague right there. Okay. Introduction. Oh, we go back to Councilmember Krishnan. Yeah, Councilmember Krishnan is here to discuss his legislation. I've already talked it up, so come on over.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to say thank you so much to Speaker Adams, our City Council. New York City is forever in debt to your service and for standing up for workers across our city. And today is a historic day for workers, from our drivers to our vendors to our delivery workers. I'm here to talk about Intro 276, and I'm proud that our City Council is standing up today against Uber and Lyft. Let's be very clear about this. Every worker in New York City deserves dignity on the job. Notice, an opportunity to be heard, and an answer on why they have been fired before they are fired. Right now, a driver can be on the road dropping off a passenger and ready to pick up the next one when their phone goes dark. In a matter of seconds, their livelihood is taken away from them. Or they could wake up in the morning, get their kids ready for school, and find out that they've been fired or deactivated from the app. The car loan they took out and the credit card they've been using for gas are massive debts that they have no way to pay off. No worker deserves to go through this isolating and harrowing experience. And right now, when a driver tries to plead their case to Uber and Lyft, first of all, they have no direct way to reach the very company that hired and fired them. But on top of that, as the Asian American Legal Defense Fund found, 90% of for-hire vehicle drivers that are fired by Uber and Lyft never get put back on the app. They never get their job back, because the current system is broken, and it allows these billion-dollar corporations, the same ones who make their money off of the hard work and labor of these drivers, it allows the corporations in the current system to take advantage of their work in exchange for their own profits. Uber and Lyft are using our affordability crisis for their own corporate gain, adding increased pressure on drivers and having the power to fire them at any time for any reason and with no notice, cause, or appeal process. They are using the power of fear to increase profits and keep drivers from asking for more. My bill, Intro 276, puts an end to unfair firings, giving workers 14 days notice, just cause, and an appeals process that is neutral and fair. Giving drivers this power is a matter of racial justice. With the vast majority of drivers being unfairly deactivated, they are immigrants and New Yorkers of color. Many of them come from my own district in representing Jackson Heights, where I have the largest taxi driver population in all of New York City. But today we're also making clear to Uber and Lyft as billion-dollar companies that we are putting power back in the hands of workers, the drivers. I'm proud that today at the Council, we are moving this bill and championing it and starting a nationwide movement to end the unfair firings of app-based drivers. Today, we are setting an important precedent, giving labor more power and holding Uber and Lyft accountable. And I just want to add, we've done a lot in this time in the City Council over 4 years, from housing to workers' rights to immigrant rights. Speaker Adams, your leadership has been historic of this body, representing a historic body of many firsts, and I thank you for always putting first the people and our communities across New York City in the work that we've done. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Okay. Introduction 1121A, sponsored by Majority Leader Amanda Farias, would expand eligibility for reduced cost ferry service to include middle school students. Introduction 1149A, also sponsored by our Majority Leader, would require language accessibility at both city-owned ferry terminals and contracted ferry service landings. Introduction 1350A, also sponsored by the Majority Leader, would require SBS to provide loan readiness resources to help small businesses prepare for the lending process and understand the services offered by community development financial institutions. Introduction 1251A, also sponsored by the Majority Leader, would authorize DOHMH and DCWP to issue license applications to mobile food and general vendors until the licenses issued reaches the capped amount, as not every license application results in a license issued. And Introduction 1120B, also sponsored by the Majority Leader, would set timelines for decisions regarding the sale of co-op apartments. I now invite our Majority Leader to the podium to discuss all of her legislation.
Thank you. Sir, just 5. Thank you, Madam Speaker. At today's stated meeting, we will vote on a set of bills that exemplify this council's commitment to equity and accountability across our economy, housing, and transportation systems, supporting small businesses seeking financing, expanding transit affordability and accessibility, restoring transparency to the cooperative housing process, and ensuring street vendor licensing is reformed. Each of these measures is informed by research and testimony that helps us to advance equity, transparency, and opportunity. The first bill I'll speak to is Introduction 1350, which strengthens New York City's small business financing support system by ensuring businesses are prepared to succeed in the lending process. The Department of Small Business Services has demonstrated that loan readiness support makes a measurable difference. Since launching the NYC Funds Finder platform in September of 2023, more than 6,000 businesses have created accounts and over 1,200 have scheduled appointments, with SBS testifying that businesses working with an advisor are 14 times more likely to secure financing. SBS also piloted the My Business Finance Coach program, connecting business owners with licensed certified public accountants for extended one-to-one support benefiting approximately 300 businesses. Access to capital enables small businesses to open, hire, and serve their communities, and this bill builds on what SBS has already shown works. My bill, Introduction 1121, expands reduced ferry fares to middle school students in grades 6 through 8, building upon my previous work to improve transit accessibility in waterfront communities. In 2023, the Council extended reduced ferry fares to all of New York City public high school students. Oversight has shown that while eligibility currently includes those in 9th grade, many middle school students and their parents also commute independently. Introduction 1121 ensures younger students are not excluded from affordable transit and builds on a program that already has been proven effective. And while I'm on that topic of NYC ferry accessibility, my bill Introduction 1149, which also addresses language accessibility at city-owned ferry terminals, is also on the agenda. Since the Soundview Ferry route launched in 2018, it has become a heavily relied upon route serving a diverse community. Yet, critical service information has been made available almost exclusively in English. Introduction 1149 requires written ferry information to be provided in the city's designated citywide languages, ensuring riders can navigate the system without having to search, guess, or rely on others. On the topic of housing and buildings, I primed Introduction 1120A, which brings clarity and accountability to the cooperative sale and purchase process. Buyers have often been left without any response, creating uncertainty and allowing discriminatory practices to persist. The bill establishes enforceable timelines, communication standards, and an escalating penalty system under HPD, ensuring transparency without disrupting cooperative governance. And the final bill is Introduction 1251. A key component of the Council's street vendor reform package. Under existing law, the supervisory license applications and general vending license applications do not always result in licenses being issued, creating delays and growing waiting lists. Introduction 1251 authorizes the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene and the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection to issue additional applications when fewer licenses than authorized are issued, ensuring that the quantity authorized by law actually gets issued. Taken together, these bills promote access to opportunity, reinforce transparency and accountability, and get the city systems working for the New Yorkers who rely on them. I look forward to the passage of this legislation today and always happy to take questions. Lastly, I'd like to also say a huge thank you to Speaker Adrienne Adams. It's been an honor and privilege to serve with you for the last 4 years and particularly be your majority leader for the last 2. Honestly, there's not enough of us who are taking the time to uplift the rest of us, and so I thank you, and I know we all thank you.
Thank you. I thank you too.
Thank you so much.
Introduction 1490B, sponsored by Councilmember Pirina Sanchez, would bring the New York City Energy Conservation Code up to date with the state's 2025 version. Introduction 1321A, sponsored by Councilmember Sanchez, would replace the Building Code of 1968 with a more modern framework. Introduction 1422A, also sponsored by Councilmember Sanchez, would update the New York City Fuel Gas Code, Building Code, Mechanical Code, and Electrical Code. And Introduction 431B, also sponsored by Councilmember Sanchez, would expand business licensing for food and general vendors by making 2,200 additional supervisory license applications available to prospective mobile food vendors annually from 2026 until 2031, and 10,500 new general vending licenses in 2027. It would also expand street vendor training and increase inspections of street vendor setups to ensure compliance with new requirements. There you are. Oh, hi. I invite Councilmember Sanchez to the podium to discuss all of her legislation. See you over there.
All right.
Oh.
Good afternoon. Who knows? Allegedly, it's not. Thank you, Speaker. And thank you just presumptively to all of my colleagues, a supermajority of which have signed on to the street vending legislation. We're at a pivotal moment for street vending reform. As the daughter and the granddaughter of street vendors, I could not be more proud and honestly shocked at how far we've come. Just days ago, we stood at a rally together with street vendors alongside bodegueros, restaurants, supermarkets, side by side, calling for one thing: to finally fix our broken street vending system. That moment matters because it shows how much has changed. When we started this reform effort, we were governed by a decades-old license caps that made legal compliance nearly impossible for most vendors, enforcement that was inconsistent and ineffective, and stakeholders so polarized that many even feared having them sit at the same table. Vendors felt criminalized, brick-and-mortar businesses felt ignored, and reform was stalled. But today we have a bill that is stronger, clearer, and more balanced than where we started, with a broader brick-and-mortar support circle than ever before. 431B expands access to licenses while pairing that access with real enforcement, more sanitation coverage, clearer suspension and revocation standards, stronger penalties for unlicensed vendors, and new requirements around cleanliness and waste disposal. I want to give a special shout out to the Street Vendor Coalition, and especially leaders Mohammed and Karina, who are here with us this afternoon. I want to thank all the stakeholders who stayed at the table, and a huge shout out, of course, to the staff who wrote the darn thing: Rachel Cordero, Sarah Swain, Natalie Meltzer, and my staff, Ben Ratner, Kim Castellanos, Gerard Fernandez, Dylan Campos, all of who, Maria Villalobos, all of who were up until 1 o'clock at Aging Night. So thank you all. Maybe 2, maybe 3. But like my colleagues, I also want to take this moment to thank you, Speaker Adams, Jeremy, and Faiza, for supporting my reckless optimism across so many pieces of legislation, but particularly this one. I know this was a very heavy haul, but we did this together, and I could not be more thankful, not just on behalf of myself, but on behalf of the countless lives that are going to change because of this. Implementation will not be easy, but I'm committed to staying at the table. There's also a couple of other bills the speaker mentioned. 1321 and 1422 establish a new existing building code, which means that we are creating a brand new housing code just for old buildings. It's a very important piece of legislation that the experts and the technical code writers at Department of Buildings have worked on for over a decade, and it's going to make it easier for older buildings to do things like conduct upgrades, right? Because sometimes when you try to make a change in an older house or an older building, you're slapped with all of these new requirements that new buildings have and that are impossible for you to comply with. So a lot of work doesn't end up getting done. And 1490 updates the energy code to align with the New York State Energy Code. This is a routine sort of update, but we had to make sure to get it done by this dated so that we can insert New York City specific amendments. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Introduction 994A, sponsored by Councilmember Lincoln Ressler, would require that by June 1st, 2030, owners of tenant-occupied buildings provide cooling systems capable of maintaining 78 degrees Fahrenheit in rooms in which tenants sleep upon the request of the tenant. I invite Councilmember Ressler to the podium to discuss his legislation. You got it?
We got it done. Purina's got something good in there. I want to just start by thanking Speaker Adams. Speaker Adams has demonstrated a steely backbone, a huge heart, and has led this body with impressive dignity over these 4 years. These have been challenging times, but she has always delivered for New Yorkers. She's always protected this body, and she's always had the backs of each and every one of us up here today. I think we've just all been incredibly fortunate to have your leadership, and we are going to miss you immensely. You built an amazing team with Jeremy, Faiza, Mandela, and others who have been excellent and just tremendous partners, and it's a big loss for the council. So thank you. I'm just giving you a hug first.
Now, you all didn't take that picture. You see Lincoln Ressler has a heart. For those of you that like to put down a colleague here. It wasn't me.
There's a bald guy across the building who might feel differently. But, we're losing some great people who are terming out, like Diana and Justin, who have been dear friends since before I got here. They will be dear friends long after. I've learned so much from serving with you. I'm going to miss you guys a lot, truly. Love you both. Today's a huge day for the council. We're passing transformational bills like Sandy's COPA bill. I've never seen a council member work harder to pass legislation than Purina on this vending package. And I am just thrilled to be passing Intro 994. We all know that New York City is getting hotter and hotter every year. Indeed, 580 New Yorkers die from extreme heat annually. The number one risk factor among the people who die from extreme heat is that they lack access to cooling in their homes. 107 years ago, back in 1918, after there was a coal famine, New York required landlords to provide heat. And now, with extreme heat getting worse and worse, it's long past time for us to require landlords to provide access to cooling as well. This bill will allow any tenant who needs it to request cooling from their landlords. We're going to be working closely with our partners and allies in Albany to help make sure that we deliver the subsidies so that tenants can afford that electricity in the summer as well. The reality is that climate change requires us to take new regulatory approaches. This law will not only save many hundreds of lives, but it's going to be a model for across the state, across the nation, and beyond for how we keep people safe during extreme heat. About 2 years ago, the folks at We Act approached me about this idea, and we've been working closely with them and so many others to help make it happen. I just want to thank Sonal Jessel and Caleb Smith at We Act, Nija, Eunice Coe, Shravanti Kanakal, Victoria Saunders, New York League of Conservation Voters, NDRC. But getting this bill over the finish line has been almost a 24/7 process over the last number of weeks. And I have never been more impressed by the Council's legislative division than my experience working on this bill. I really want to commend Jeff Baker for being an incredible partner, and the team that he has in place, I've just been so impressed by. CJ Murray worked around the clock to draft this bill. I did not realize that his wife was basically in labor while he was doing it. Fortunately for all of us, she had the baby the day after aging. Otherwise, I don't think I'd be standing up here today. Billy Eck helped on bill drafting and did a great job. Brad Reed, Austin Malone, Audrey Sun, the whole Housing and Buildings team. And I really want to thank, I hope you'll note this, Chris, members of the administration for their hard work. In particular, Elijah Hutchinson and Paul Lozito at the MOCJ team worked around the clock and were phenomenal in helping us to craft this bill and get it done. Ahmed Tigani has so much on his plate as the acting commissioner at HPD. He cleared his calendar for days to get this done and just killed himself. He's been my friend for 20 years. I think the world of the guy, and this absolutely would not have happened if he didn't work as hard as he did and bring his team along to get us there. I'm really grateful for the team at HPD, Kim Darga, Anne-Marie Santiago, Jen Leone, and others. Rid Agarwal, as our Chief Climate Officer, was deeply committed to this bill and pushed us to get it done. Hillary Semmel, who does a great job through many administrations, leading the Mayor's Office of Environmental Coordination, was incredibly helpful. The environmental law team, Chris Rio, Hillary Meltzer, Christian Harned, were all great. We worked closely with HCR in the drafting of this bill for, of course, the impacts on unregulated tenants. Betsy Mallow and her team were terrific. I'd especially like to thank a former staffer of mine who works across the hall at City Hall, Arvind Sinwani, who was just incredibly helpful in quarterbacking this effort and bring the agencies together. Of course, none of this would have happened without Jeremy and the Speaker's support, and I'm really grateful for that. But most of all, I really want to thank my Chief of Staff. I think anyone who knows me knows that I like to work hard. Molly works so much harder, and she's so much smarter, and I am so fortunate to have a partner in all of the work that we do, but especially on this bill. Molly Haley is just the best of the best, and I'm really grateful for her and for everybody's help. This was a big team effort to get this done. It's a big bill. 2030, every tenant in New York City will have access to cooling. We're going to save a lot of lives. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Introduction 910B, also known as the Construction Justice Act, sponsored by Councilmember Carmen De La Rosa, would establish a compensation standard and local hiring provision for construction workers on certain housing development projects. I now invite Councilmember De La Rosa to the podium to discuss her important legislation.
Well, I want to join the chorus of my colleagues who are giving Madam Speaker her flowers today. Thank you for your leadership, for your courage, for your moral clarity in this process as our Speaker, but also in allowing us to create history together. And this bill is no different. Intro 910 is a history-making bill. 7 years in the making, although I've only been here 4 years, but other folks have carried it, and I'm the closer, so I finished it. Many New Yorkers who build affordable housing in our city cannot live in it. The construction workers building our skyline are overwhelmingly non-union. Recent audits by the New York City Comptroller's Office found that they earn as little as $16 per hour, just $1 above the current minimum wage, and receive no benefits. When routine wage theft is a factor in the reality of so many building affordable housing in New York City, and they're paid less and less per project than though, and many of them are formerly incarcerated, immigrant workers, and day laborers, some of the most vulnerable New Yorkers that are working on sites across the city. They struggle to afford basic necessities as well as their own housing, a problem that worsens as the cost of living in New York City becomes increasingly unmanageable. And for most working families, taxpayers ultimately pay the price as the city must subsidize corporate greed with social services to keep families afloat. Intro 910 would require that developers on certain housing projects that receive at least $1.5 million in city financial assistance to pay workers a combined minimum wage and essential package of at least $40 an hour, with no less than 25 of that being wages. Housing development projects that would be covered include construction on housing that creates or preserves at least 150 or more dwelling units with project construction cost of $3 million or more, and funded in whole or in part by city financial assistance. This bill would not apply to preservation projects, supportive housing projects, or projects on NYCHA land. It would require that developers engage in the best effort to also ensure that at least 30% of the workers are covered, who are covered in these projects are residents of the city of New York. When we talk about the housing crisis, it is important that those that are building our skyline are also able to live in it, that they're able to afford to live in this city, and that they aren't exploited. That's how we solve the housing crisis in New York City. If you're looking forward towards a new era in New York City, which I know a lot of us are, with ambitious housing goals, then it is important that we center the dignity and care of the workers helping to achieve them, instead of perpetuating a broken status quo. The council has taken a bold stand in supporting workers and building our skylines today by passing the Construction Justice Act, guaranteeing that projects built with taxpayer dollars can uplift laborers out of poverty. The Construction Justice Act is a win for all of us, and I'm proud to have fought for the passage of this legislation over the past few years. I'm proud to serve along working class New Yorkers who deserve an opportunity to thrive. And I also want to take the opportunity to thank Speaker Adams for entrusting me as her labor chair. We've done a lot together, a lot of good for the workers of our city, no matter whether it's street vendors, all the way to construction workers, Amazon workers, Starbucks workers, daily news workers. We've really stood up for the little guy in this council, and I'm very proud of the work we've done. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't thank the people who are helping us achieve this, which is our staff, my team, James Burke, Kiana Diaz, and Freina Familia, as well as the speaker's team. You had an amazing team helping us achieve this, and we want to thank you. This is a day that is a victory for all of us, so thank you so much.
Introduction 1433A, sponsored by Councilmember Eric Dinowitz, would require that starting July 1st, 2027, at least 25% of rentable affordable units financed by the city be 2-bedroom units and 15% be 3-bedroom units. I invite Councilmember Dinowitz to the podium to discuss his legislation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I understand from earlier this is not a round of applause crowd, but can we please give our speaker a round of applause? I mean, look, even the press is clapping for you.
No, they're not.
It's, not just from the bills today, but, throughout her 4 years, our speaker really, I think, has put families, workers, their needs, including housing, front and center. I don't know, maybe it's because she and I were both raised with this similar value. You work hard, you give back to the city that helped raise you, and there's a place for you in this city. That is a value and a promise, however, that is escaping a lot of our families. Just yesterday, I was at one of my local schools. A mother came up to me with a stroller. Her 2 kids were in the school chorus, so she and her 3 kids living together, and she said, "Can you help me out? I've been living in my 1-bedroom. I have a voucher. I'm working with all these groups, but I cannot find a larger apartment. It is the 4 of us in this small 1-bedroom apartment." And these are stories that all of us as council members hear every single day. There are not enough 2 or 3-bedroom apartments, and if there are, they're certainly not affordable. And these aren't just anecdotes. These aren't just real stories of our constituents. Our families are leaving New York City. We are losing families faster than any other demographic group. And those that stay sometimes end up homeless. They end up in our shelter system with our families, our children, making up a vast majority of those living in shelter. It was just reported a few months ago, 154,000 of our New York City public school students are living in shelter. And one can say that this is because of a housing crisis, but when it comes to affordable housing, it's a policy choice. Because for years, our city has incentivized the production of studios and one-bedrooms to the tune of 70% of any given as-of-right development to be studios and one-bedroom apartments, typically the rest of the 30% two bedrooms, typically 0% three bedrooms. Hardly enough to house the very working families who want to keep the promise that we make to our children, that were made to us. So with this bill today, this is a pivotal moment for our city, for our families, for housing, to simply say, if you are getting tax subsidy, and we are trying to make affordable housing a reality, we're going to make it a little more of a reality for our families by requiring 25% of those units to be two-bedroom apartments and 15% of those units to be three-bedroom apartments. And over the course of many years, I believe with this legislation, we're going to stop seeing the flow of families out of our city and back into our city. Our hardworking families are going to stay. We're going to have fewer and fewer families living in shelter, more and more students staying in our public school system, to have a thriving, stable New York City, the same New York City that was promised to so many of us in this room. And this bill, like every bill you've heard today, this bill would not have happened if not for the efforts, the heart, and the work of Speaker Adrienne Adams. You're allowed to applaud a second time for her. Thank you. And of course, Jeremy John and Faiz Ali and the land use team, Paris and William, and so many organizations that had a hand in crafting this to make sure it was responsive to the needs of our community, our different communities that we represent, and responsive to the needs of the supportive housing community and to the older adult community, and of course, our working families. So thank you, Madam Speaker. Once again, I'm thrilled. I'm looking forward to this passing and us having more affordable options for our family in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Introduction 1443A, sponsored by Councilmember Sandy Nurse, would require that starting July 1st, 2027, 50% of newly constructed rental units financed by the city be affordable for very low-income households and at least 30% for extremely low-income households. Introduction 1419A, also sponsored by Councilmember Nurse, would require the Commissioner of Finance to report annually on properties encumbered by chronically unresolved tax liens that remain unsatisfied for 36 months or more after being sold. Introduction 1420A, also sponsored by Councilmember Nurse, would require the Commissioner of Finance to require purchasers of tax liens to make best efforts to transfer the liens to the City Land Bank upon certain triggering events. And Introduction 902B, also known as the Community Opportunity to Purchase Act, sponsored by Councilmember Nurse, would give qualified nonprofits or joint ventures between qualified nonprofits and other entities a first opportunity to submit an offer and purchase certain residential properties when an owner plans to sell the property before it is placed on the market. I now invite Councilmember Nurse to the podium to discuss all of her legislation.
Thank you. Thank you. I think I'm the last, so I'll try to be on script and brief. Good afternoon, and thank you all. And additionally, just adding that I'm very thankful for you and your work and your leadership and leading this body. So for my constituents in District 37, today we are moving to approve the Herkimer Williams project near Broadway Junction. The project will deliver nearly 1,000 units of 100% affordable housing, open space, a green economy institute, strong local hiring commitments, and ground floor retail for local businesses. We also have secured $1 million in anti-displacement funding to strengthen our tenant and homeowner protections in the area. And the project sets a strong precedent to ensure future projects are built for our community rather than in an effort to replace it. And I want to thank Paris and Ann and Tim and probably every other person in land use that I've bothered for 4 years on this. Thank you so much for keeping me on track and making me look like I knew what I was doing in the technical arena. So thank you. On legislation, we are advancing some pretty historic bills. No other speaker has done as much as Speaker Adams to reform and replace the tax lien sale. The lien sale has hit communities like ours very, very hard, where we have asset-rich communities and low-income seniors, Black and brown households who see their generational wealth stripped from them due to outstanding debts. And with today's bills, including my intros 1419 and 1420, we are passing long overdue reforms to the lien sale that get rid of its opaque trust system, which most of you probably don't know anything about. And we bring municipal debt collection back into the public's hands through a land bank model that balances our budget while protecting homeowners. We're also voting on my bill, Intro 43, which is kind of a complementary bill to Councilmember Dinowitz's bill to ensure that when we are spending public dollars to produce housing, we are producing homes that are truly affordable for New Yorkers and for low-income families specifically, which we are losing. With this bill, we'll keep working-class New Yorkers from being pushed into shelters and out of our city altogether. And last but not least, today we'll be voting on the Community Opportunity to Purchase Act, a landmark piece of social housing legislation that we inherited in September. COPA will create a set of vetted, certified, qualified entities or preservation buyers the first chance to buy buildings with physical distress and expiring affordability restrictions. We are going to be protecting tenants and preserving permanently affordable homes. With today's passage, New York City will become the largest city in the country with an opportunity to purchase program, and we will gain a critical preservation tool to add to our toolbox. I want to thank and congratulate the speaker again on a phenomenal 4 years of leadership. Thank you to your team, Jeremy, Faiza, Jeff, everyone else, all of your support and guidance over these years. Thank you to Emra and Richard, Audrey, Rendy for always dragging me in here, to Pre-Stated, knowing that I hate being in front of cameras, the New Economy Project, Nike, and a bunch of other organizations to get these bills over the finish line. Thank you.
Okay, where are we? Introduction 1407A, sponsored by me, would authorize the city to sell tax liens past 2028, but only to a city land bank, and add additional protections for primary resident homeowners. This bill, along with introductions 570, 1411, 1419, and 1420, was based on work from the Temporary Task Force on Tax Liens. Together, they seek to shift the current practice away from selling tax liens to a private trust and instead toward a city land bank that prioritizes community needs, avoids unnecessary displacement of homeowners, and ensure tax delinquent properties can be returned to a productive use. Introduction 1391A, also known as the Allen Etienne Safety and Security Act, sponsored by me, would direct security guard employers to provide their employees with minimum wage, paid vacation time, and supplemental benefits. This legislation was inspired by the heroic efforts of Allen Etienne, a 32 BJ security guard who was fatally shot by a gunman in the lobby of 345 Park Avenue this summer. Introduction 1451, also sponsored by myself, would require the NYPD to provide designated CCRB employees with direct access to footage recorded by officer-worn, body-worn cameras for the purpose of investigating and prosecuting allegations of police misconduct. And Introduction 958, also sponsored by me, would approximately double the production of affordable home ownership opportunities financed by the city by requiring that at least 4% of all newly construction affordable units be for home ownership. Our city is experiencing an exodus of working class and middle income families due to the affordability crisis. The housing bills we are voting on today are meant to ensure that the city's public dollars are used wisely to actually create housing that is affordable and can support working families. My bill will make the dream of affordable home ownership within reach for our families so that they can remain in the city they love. That does conclude our stated agenda, and with that, we will take on-topic questions on the remaining bills that we are voting on today.
One question, one follow-up. Very serious about that.
Don't mess with it. We have to get to work.
If you have other questions, you can come talk to COM staff or come to bill sponsor. Truly one question, one follow-up on the bills.
is the next council the ones that would have to override it?
Yes.
Majority Leader?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
The answer is yes.
There's a timeline.
Chris, excuse moi? Following up on Ethan? Respect the process. Hi, Nick. Oh, yeah, that's off topic. Let's go with the bills first, then we'll come back. Yeah.
Thank you. Just first wanted to make sure that I understood what you said directly. The council would, in other words, under your leadership as Speaker, still not do any override. You would contact your next council?
The incoming council would be responsible for any overrides on the legislation that's passed today. Correct.
And then on, this is maybe a question for Councilmember Nurse, but on the COPA bill, the Adams administration has indicated that one of the reasons they're opposing it is they would only support the bill if it creates the COPA system for buildings that are in enforcement, the ones that have the absolute most derelict housing violations on them. Why did the council ultimately decide to not limit it to that and to expand it and to include more categories to subject it?
Yeah, so maybe there's a incorrect reading of the bill or misunderstanding, so I'm happy to correct it. The bill covers eligible properties would be properties in 4 enforcement programs that the city has, which means we're already sending HPD inspectors, enforcement inspectors. We're also spending on free housing legal services for tenants in these buildings. These are unsafe situations. Not only that, they'd have to be in those programs for over a year. So they didn't just arrive at these programs, which is a pretty big mountain to climb to get into these programs. You'd be in there for quite a bit of time. So we are specifically targeting distressed properties. And that was a major compromise from the original bill that I inherited in September.
Isn't there a provision to the buildings whose taxing, affordable housing-related tax exemptions are about?
If you are coming out of subsidies, if you have expiring subsidies in the next 2 years, those would be eligible. And by being eligible, it means you'd have a 25-day window for one of our trusted, mission-driven organizations to put in an offer on those buildings. These are things we should be doing. These are affordable units. We want to try to keep those units affordable. This is an opportunity to do that. If nobody's interested, no one buys, it goes back to the market, and we potentially lose those affordable units.
Another veto question. The administration has been pretty clear about its opposition to some of the bills tied to single funded affordable housing. If those pass today, if they are vetoed, have those of you who sponsor those bills talked with the presumptive next speaker about standing behind an override vote, assuming the veto override would go to the next?
I wouldn't know that, but I would doubt that you all, because we have no speaker that has been voted in, so I would imagine that. But I'm not going to speak for you.
No, I mean, I could just say I'm not sure why a mayor would veto a pro-family housing bill. I don't see what he has against families.
Have you talked with Councilmember Bennett about if there was an override situation?
We're looking forward to passing this bill with a broad and diverse coalition of support of members. And if the mayor chooses to veto a pro-family housing legislation to correct for errors that have been made by our city's policy over the past decade, then we're willing to fight that battle once we get to it.
Sure. Thank you for the question, and thanks for being here. Right now, the process by which the CCRB accesses body-worn camera footage is entirely reliant on the NYPD. So I would assume that most of us in this room knows that a lot of times that information comes to them very, very slowly or not at all. So it's sometimes resulted in delays in production of evidence and even gaps in what footage is turned over to be reviewed by the CCRB. So providing CCRB with direct access to body-worn camera footage will increase their ability to determine the merits of misconduct allegations, and that's the purpose of the legislation. Yeah, thank you. Hey, Nick.
On the HPP-related bills, yet again, the administration is criticizing it, has put out this estimate of something like $600 million in annual costs that these would impose. Progressive groups as well, like the Policy Institute, have been pretty critical. So does the council just disagree with those estimates, or do you do like the trade-off as being worth it, that maybe there'd be less production, but it would be a better kind of bigger units, et cetera?
You know, the purpose of all of our housing legislation is to remain in line with the buzzword of the day, affordability. That is the goal of all of this housing legislation. And once again, all of the bills that this council works through is always with negotiation with the administration. So this is in collaboration, close collaboration, and as you know, sometimes this collaboration takes months, sometimes years. So the mere fact that we are here today, able to pass this legislation with the collaboration of the administration, says a whole lot. We have, obviously there are going to be hurdles to jump over with the passage of some of these bills today, and we will do that happily and collaboratively.
So do you dispute those estimates of the costs that would be added?
I don't dispute anything. We have our information, and we stand with our information of cost. Copa?
So from the end of November to now, Copa underwent several pretty major changes. Could you provide any insight to that negotiation process between yourself and other involved organizations?
Yeah, so I became the lead sponsor in September. This bill has been in the council since 2020, so before I got in. And as soon as we got the bill, we engaged with as many stakeholders as possible. We spoke with RIBNY. We had 2 meetings with them. We've been back and forth with them on a lot of edits. We met with tons of community development organizations, folks who buy and preserve properties, lots of housing organizations that the city asks to take over properties all the time and fix them up and get them rehabilitated for tenants to move back in. We spoke with a lot of the coalition groups and then my colleagues. We made a lot of compromises based on a lot of feedback from all of those different stakeholders, and my colleagues being a huge group that I listened to as much as possible. Thank you.
You can get off your shoes, and I can't get off mine yet. Thank you all. I'll see you upstairs. Hi.
So you had said last year that you would consider suing the Adams administration for failing to build to require busing by clean mileage as required by the Streets Master Plan law. Curious why you decided not to do that, and do you have any advice to the next speaker about holding the administration accountable for that law?
Yeah, we continue to be in conversation, obviously, with the administration, hoping that, as I've said in the past, that we could do some more collaborative work. That did not happen. And, we were not interested in going through a lawsuit at this point. My advice for the incoming speaker would be to do as much as you can to work very, very closely with the mayoral administration. Hopefully, the mayoral administration will get to know the members, get to know what's important to different districts, the constituents in the districts, and I'm really, really hoping for a great collaborative relationship with the incoming administration and incoming speaker. Hi. Good.
So the Reverend Al Sharpton last night here accused incoming speaker Joy Lennon of trying to undercut or successfully undercutting the first Black woman speaker. Do you agree with the Reverend's characterization?
I've known Reverend Sharpton for a very long time, and his opinions are his own, and he will stand by his opinions. I don't think that I was personally undermined, so I do not agree with that. I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
Following up on that, Politico reported that you were calling members personally to try to show up support for the bill, but if I'm not mistaken, you never signed on to it as a sponsor yourself. So could you just kind of explain what your work was on this bill?
Sure.
It's correct that you were supporting it.
Sure. Sure. The original iteration of the bill, I was actually on the original bill. For those of you that know the inequities in communities like mine in Southeast Queens, you realize that 1- and 2-family homes are very, very prevalent in our communities. Southeast Queens has the largest amount of foreclosure in the nation. So my being a proponent of legislation that would enable people that own, homeowners, of sharing their homes comes from having knowledge of individuals that are going through that experience. So I always say that I legislate through what I live, and this was no different. So in trying to, get this to be successful, absolutely. These are folks that I know and folks that that I will continue to champion as far as making sure that their mortgages are paid, making sure that their income is up to par, and making sure that there is equity across the board when it comes to housing and fair housing.
When you say will continue to champion, do you just mean that generally? Or
Generally, yes.
anything you're doing?
I just wanted to follow up on what you said to Josie's question. I understand you're saying you felt like you weren't personally undermined by the incoming speaker, but was there anything that Julie Menon did in this process that you found inappropriate?
I have no knowledge of what Councilmember Menon did or did not do in this process at all. So I can't answer that.
Any other questions? Okay,
Can we get to work?
move unstated. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for hanging out. No, fun 4 years.
I wouldn't bet on that.